Whatever you do, do not think about the pink elephant. What are you thinking about? You ever notice maybe you're driving your car, you don't have registration, and all you can see is cops all over the place? You didn't see a cop for 3 months, but now you see cops everywhere. That's brain science. Find out a little bit more about that with my second piece of conversation with co-founder of Procabulary, Mark England, as we discuss how you can train your brain around things as simple as your language. This is episode 15, and I'm ready. How about you? Let's do this thing. That's right. I said brain science. We'll get into that in a bit here. Part 2 of my conversation with Mark England, like I said, from Procabulary. That was such a fantastic interview. We had to split it up to 2. We'll talk about that in a bit. First, I wanted to talk about this past weekend. We had the YYC Music Awards. Big congrats to all the nominees, as well as the winners. Big shout out to Matt Blaze, good singer-songwriter buddy of mine, who actually picked up Songwriter of the Year here. And nothing but props to that guy. He does a lot for the community, and he's been working hard at his craft for such a long time. He's a good friend of mine. So congrats, Matt, as well as all the other winners. Carrying that over to tonight, we've got Alberta Music's annual general meeting, which is a big night for myself, as I've got a nomination up for board of directors, hoping to encourage a little more of our health initiative right to the top. Trying to get our membership more education, more resources, better awareness of health and wellness for musicians. I've been known as that guy, but it's a team event. We gotta all want to win. So hopefully we'll have a good turnout here tonight. If you are part of Alberta Music, I'd like to see you down. We're at the Jubilee here in Calgary, and I believe it's the Northern Jube up in Edmonton as well. So take a peek. albertamusic.org if you want to kind of figure that out, and hopefully we'll see you out. They got some food and stuff too, so it's always a good time networking and just hanging out with a bunch of like-minded individuals. Before we get going into a song, I wanted to go into a new bit here. What's trending? All right, I took a peek on Twitter, and that's probably one of the easiest ways to lose track of time for myself. But I came across, it's National Pancake Day, which is a great hashtag. I'm going to hashtag and look at what's trending here. This is bad names for wine. I got to check this one out. I'm going to retweet some of these, so you can find me at SchwartzFit on Twitter. What do we got here? Right on the top, I can't believe it's not wine. That's obvious. That's awesome. Welch's grape juice. These are bad names for wine. That's what the hashtag is. This is currently trending on Twitter. Therapy. That's a good one. That's retweet. Oh, man. Anyways, play around on Twitter. Again, you can find me at SchwartzFit, all one word. SchwartzFit. All right. Last but not least, let's talk about some events for the week and then get into it. First off, if you're looking for some music action, come on down to the Ship in the afternoon. I'll be down there with my good pal Jess Smith and the Frontiers as well. We're doing the open jam there, so come on, say hi. That's on Saturday. And then Friday, very excited to announce Tanner James's book release over at Village Brewery, so you guys should make that out. Again, find me on Facebook. It's actually facebook.com/Schwartzbook. But let's not waste any time. Let's get to Tanner James, All Girls Want, and then we'll hop into Procabulary interview number 2.
I saw you the other day with the man, handlebar mustache, aviator sunglasses, yeah, in a Camaro on a Sunday afternoon. I was riding my 10-speed just thinking of you. I saw your head slip down between his knees, and I pictured your fingers dancing in his Levi's jeans. Out your window you gave me a devil horn sign. Remember the days when you used to be my mind. Oh, my, all girls want is bad boys with sleeveless t-shirts, cocaine and tattoos and holes in their jeans. All I've got is skunk weed and vinyl records, garage bands and pop songs and minimum wage. And I see you another way now as time passes and the truth subsides. Can't you see through this hair metal? I really thought, girl, that you were better. To play you Whitesnake, to play you the Crew. I thought you'd prefer the Cure or Husker Du-Du-Du, do-do, 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 do-do. Now I sit out your window with my ghetto blaster. You leave me only because his car was faster. Is that what you did? Is that how it goes? And if only, girl, I would've ever known that. All girls want is bad boys with sleeveless t-shirts, cocaine and tattoos and holes in their jeans. All I've got is skunk weed and vinyl records, garage bands and pop songs and minimum wage. All girls want is bad boys with sleeveless t-shirts, cocaine and tattoos and holes in their jeans. All I've got is skunk weed and vinyl records, garage bands, pop songs and minimum wage. And all girls want is bad boys with sleeveless t-shirts, cocaine and tattoos and holes in their jeans.
Welcome back, everybody. We got part two here with Mark England. Wow, butcher your name. Mark England, co-founder of Procabulary. We're just diving in on something I find very, very interesting because I've been able to use Procabulary myself, and it's changed my game completely. And I thought I'd want to get in touch with you for sure because the majority of my audience is either musicians or music lovers, and like you said, this stuff is for everybody who thinks and speaks. Well, so that's like if you breathe, you should probably be listening, right? So that's, if you've got a pulse, you should probably listen, right? So, and not probably. No, let's fix that one. Let's definitely listen, right?
Solidify that language, my man.
I was just giving examples. I was trying to like showcase what Procabulary can do, right?
And you did it. You did it in style.
Bingo. Right on. So let's dive in with specific to musicians. One of the biggest things about the lifestyle I find, especially after being up at the conferences in Edmonton. I just got back from Breakout West, second biggest music conference in Canada here, and the biggest thing we saw in fielding questions was how to manage stress, how to rest and recover with the demands of the lifestyle. So first question to you, a bit more of a personal angle on this. Do you believe that stress kills?
Yes. It kills joy. It absolutely kills joy. It kills enthusiasm. A little bit, at times, perfect, great fuel for the fire, but you don't want to run on that. No doctor that I know of, correct me.
Maybe it's different in Canada, hey?
Has any doctor ever recommended a high stress diet for you as a path to longevity and health?
Oh God, they should be fired. No.
Yeah, right? No,
don't
not at
agree.
all.
No.
And this is something that I've talked to the guys on Barbell behind the scenes about, is that most people do not know how to down-regulate their nervous system. People get stuck in an upregulated state. A large part of that coming from conflict language, which I'm happy to break down into its components if you think your audience would find that beneficial.
Oh yeah.
And when people do give themselves those pauses, time to reset, and there are a variety of ways to do that, then they're taught. Then that's the very basis of the conversation of longevity, regardless of what it is. Business, entrepreneurship, okay? Working out, playing music, emotional endurance, okay? So staying on that buzzed, stressed out, always on the go. It's an idea that is sold, and yet very rarely does it end happily. So I want to look at the people that are doing what I enjoy doing. They've been doing that for 20, 30 years. Okay? How have they stayed in the game?
Mm-hmm.
What do they do? And a large majority of them, they have their times to push, and they also know how to come out of that upregulated state. A lot of that comes down to awareness of how we're breathing. In vocabulary, we call that the great transition. If someone is in and I'm all for intense experiences. Okay, a lot of my friends are rock and rollers, and I understand what that lifestyle entails. It's attractive, it's alluring, it's seductive. Cool, go there and have all the experiences, and learn to practice resetting yourself. For me personally, two things: walking and meditation. Not walking meditation, walking and meditation. How I start my day, and I've been 7 days a week on this for a long time. 7 minutes after I'm awake, I'm out the door.
Awesome.
I'm still like wiping my eyes out the door. And it's how I like waking up. Okay? It puts me in a certain space mentally and energetically to where I navigate my day well. And I am busy. I'm a co-founder of a business. Okay? I'm an entrepreneur. And that wearing the hats that we do, we push the envelope. Okay, so it's not the rock and roll lifestyle, but again, you know what? It kind of is.
Sure is.
It's the same grind. I mean, you know, we've talked.
Oh yeah.
And so the second thing, meditation. We'll be finished up here about 6 p.m. I've been leaning in to work for work for about 11 hours. I'm going to go home. I'm going to meditate, settle back into myself, so down regulate, and then guess what? I'm coming back out, and I'll probably finish up work tonight about 10:30.
Okay.
So if someone likes to party hard, if somebody likes to burn the candle at both ends, cool. Learn to blow the candle out at certain points in time. Ask yourself the question: how am I going to do this for 20 years? Okay?
Right.
And if you can't see yourself doing it for 20 years, then you're very likely not. Add in some practices, practices, I said it. So you can see yourself having longevity in whatever it is that you want to get great at, because guess what? The guy I'm staying with, it's tomorrow night. He's going to go listen to a couple of A couple of blues players. They're in their late 70s.
Wow.
They've been playing for over 50 years. So done right, I mean, is there any end to how much someone can know about music?
No, I don't think so.
That's one of the things that's attractive to playing for me. And you know, I know that in my 70s, I'm not going to be practicing martial arts, especially the way I am now. So what can I do? What is intriguing? What's interesting as far as a practice? Something that I will always have room to grow into? Music. There's a lot of beauty there. Anyway, I know that's a little bit. That's about me, and this is about your listeners. Connect the dots. Connect the dots about what ways of thinking limit the way you see yourself. Mm-hmm. Connect the dots between what you say. I say this in the TED Talk. Connect the dots between what you think and what you say and that constriction, that stress response that you get. Okay? And the fastest way to generally speaking, the fastest way to let go of this, Mike, is to slow things down. Okay, back to the down regulation. We help people. A lot of the coaching that we do, a lot of the trainings that we do, is developing the understanding that there is someone's innate ability to use their language differently, to upregulate themselves when necessary and downregulate themselves when necessary. Most people are stuck in that upregulated state to their detriment. Yeah. Okay, I want your listeners, if they're in the music industry, have long, amazing, fruitful careers. As I would assume they want to as well. Mm-hmm. Being able to bring themselves, it comes back to being centered a lot of the time.
Yeah, no, I would agree with the conversations I had this last week. That's the biggest fight. I mean, and even having those conversations, there's so many examples. I was just having a little mark on my shoulder being like, he translate that, he translate that, he translate that. Oh boy. And it's what I find magical, if you will, about the music industry is that we're often dreamers. We have this creative, everything will work out. We're just going to...
In the end.
Yeah, right? Sure. Put the effort in, you know? And then you hear that, and the perfect example, actually, this is something I'm really proud of, and this I picked up from our CEO at InLive, which you've got a good relationship with as well. And,
thank you for that.
And hey, anything I can do. One of the other things I learned about meetings, and this was my first experience with the way language shapes punctuality, is we started our meetings at 12:07. How powerful is that? Confusing as all hell when you first look at it, but because they give me a wellness room, and I put my clinics on 07. And they're like, did you mean 07? I was like, yeah, absolutely. It's been proven that people will be late if you give them a 12 o'clock-ish, or 12-ish, or show up by noon. It gives them free reign on permission to be late. Which, one of the other biggest things that I've really learned since going through core language is solidify at 12:07. I didn't have anybody late for my wellness room. What's furthermore, after we got permission from that on my wellness clinics, I found out Breakout West was running shuttle service from the hotel downtown Edmonton to the airport and to the bus depot and stuff. Guess what time the shuttles were leaving? Not on the
7s.
On the 07. So I felt pretty good on that. So big shout out to Vince Danielson, CEO of InLive, for introducing me to that way of thought, because it made everybody on time. People were there at 12, so they were 7 minutes early. The drivers, who were volunteers, God bless their souls, they were like, wow, this is insane. What happened to musician time? And there's an ongoing joke, Mark. Like, How many times you heard like lead singer time? He's gonna be here like tomorrow, you know. And if you give them like permission to do that for themselves, they're gonna take full advantage because they don't have the, I don't know, accountability. What would you call it? What is it? How do we change that?
Accountability and consideration for other people in the room, the other band members. How much do other people appreciate timeliness in the music industry? How much of a rarity is it? How much of a commodity is it?
Man.
And if it's a rare thing, then that's a very interesting, specific thing for your audience to contemplate developing. If a lot of people aren't doing something and it's highly prized in an industry, start doing it.
Yeah, I would agree.
I'm famous for that. I am a punctual man. This is me. Let's say our call. I have a coaching call at 1:00. At 12:58, I'm doing this.
Waiting.
At 12:59, I'm like this. And when 1:00 hits, I hit that button. I've been doing that for a while now, and it sets a tone. It sets a precedence. We will be training coaches in the next 18 to 24 months, and that's the very first thing that's going to come out of my mouth. You want to learn a language? You want to learn the language work? Wonderful. You want to learn to work with other people? Wonderful. You're going to be on time. You're going to master your time.
Mark, your underwear's ready.
Well put.
Yes.
And your underwear is ready.
I'm at my friend's printing company.
Fantastic.
Yeah, and that's him. That's the CEO.
Oh,
so
wonderful. There you go.
The president and CEO. So the idea that leadership has to be all starched and proper.
Oh,
No.
No,
We're much more fun than that.
Heck yeah, man. That's perfect. No, not to lose you from your point though. That is, there you go. So I've got 5 minutes to shave off my time. I was starting behind, and if I want to be a part of that team coaching, I better fix that by about 10 minutes. So I understand.
Punctuality, it's practice.
Oh, it is.
It's a practice skill set, just like anything else.
Absolutely is. That's why I'm grateful for more 18 to 24 months, because I can actually build that practice.
You'll be ready. Ready
Exactly, man. I'll be ready. Yeah, that's a rarity. That's something I take a lot of pride in. It's once in a blue moon for myself for punctuality, and I see that in the music industry. I see that as a personal trainer, and as a coach. That's also something that has gone by the wayside in coaching and personal training. People think it's okay to show up 3 minutes after the hour when these people are paying upwards of $100 an hour for you. So I set myself apart, I'd like to think, in being early. If I'm on time, I'm late. So for the listeners out there, it's good practice, especially in the music industry, because I'm sure you guys could relate when a sound guy is there and the band is actually ready for sound check. Holy shit, is he happy.
How much more likely are those people to get calls for work in the future?
Can't even put a number on it. They're going to be the only ones. Absolutely.
Punctuality.
Yeah. So now, let's talk about a few other translations that are common. I know I sent you a list in there, just getting you thinking of the things that are pretty common in bands. For me, it's always been on the stage. Oh, I can't do. It's always the can't. It's always the and we can talk about, maybe give a little bit of an overview of some of the conflict language that and your definition of. So when we say something like can't, don't, won't, shouldn't, all those, okay, well that's great, but what can you do? What are you in power of? And maybe walk me through like a translation and something that's common.
Sure thing. So what you're talking about right there specifically in vocabulary terminology are negations. Can'ts, won'ts, isn'ts, don'ts, shouldn'ts, nots, hasn'ts, haven'ts. Those force us to focus on worst case scenarios. Okay? I can't keep making all these mistakes. What am I now envisioning?
Mistake.
All the mistakes. All the big mistakes that I've made in the past and what will continue to happen if I keep making them in the future. What does that do? Puts me in a stress response. Back to the process. What does that do to my breathing? Traps it in my upper chest. What does it do to, as far as performance is concerned? What does that do for my ability to get in the zone, so to speak, and let the music flow through me? We work with a lot of athletes, and that's why we got on Barbell Shrugged.
Right.
And it's the terminology, getting in the zone,
Yeah.
okay? As opposed to what? Being up in your head,
Yeah.
okay? You're a musician. You've obviously had experiences where you're so part of the process, it just flows right through you, right? The mind is so inconsequential.
Absolutely. I compare it as long track speed skater as well. It's the same thing. You have a flow state. You have
Flow states.
Yeah, you're in the zone. You're mindless with it. It's just coming natural. It's coming through you, your sport or your music, and that's what I'm trying to connect is the musician athlete, right? That's the next project. They're podcast.
That's really
first.
cool.
Yeah, it's connecting the two because the training style is the exact same for me. There's no difference. It's just a matter of how that flow state generates, really.
When you're in those flow states as a musician, where are you breathing?
You actually have to think about that. It's through the nose. It's definitely not out the mouth. You're not, panting or anything. It's through the nose, down through the like into the belly breath.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Abdominal breathing. When someone's in a stress response, they're breathing up in their upper chest, shallow breathing, labored breathing. That's the mind, that's fear response.
Mm-hmm.
When the flow state it's incompatible with a fear response. Okay? So what we do is we help people understand and utilize their language to help them breathe more into their abdomen, make that the home. That is the great transition in vocabulary, going from a chronic or semi-chronic chest breather to a chronic or semi-chronic abdominal breather, and that takes, the flow state is magical. Very few people can call upon it at will, in my opinion. And we can make that possibility a probability through leveraging how we think and how we speak and how we conduct ourselves. Think about that. That's interesting. How we conduct ourselves. A symphony, an orchestra, a conductor, music, how a person conducts their life. There are parallels in the language.
It's actually a very interesting point. That's I think I have definitely thought of how music is in that flow state, because if you think about what you just example there, that the orchestra, you've got so many moving parts that all have to be there at once for the beautiful symphony to happen. If one thing isn't, say in a person before a practice, before a rehearsal, before a show, you start breathing chest heavy, but you're playing well still, but you're saying things like, oh, I just can't, I know what mistakes I don't, you're thinking negatively.
I shouldn't be here with these people. If they really knew that I wasn't as good as they think I am.
Yeah, maybe, probably. Just adding
Maybe,
all
probably.
That.
Let me trash myself in my mind, send myself into a stress response, and try like hell to get it right.
Right.
As opposed to me having a more... When someone studies vocabulary, they'll understand why I say this. Having a more accurate conversation with themselves, about themselves, having a clearer conversation with themselves, about themselves, breathing better internally, and in turn, making that the ability for the skill that they've developed, whether they're a singer, drummer, bass player, saxophone player, doesn't matter, for that skill to flow through them. Absolutely. Whatever someone wants to do, get better at, you have to do the reps. And if you want to get really good at it, you have to do a whole fuck ton of the reps. Cool, great, good, go for it. Understand that. And also understand that our identity, which is a ongoing, flexible process that we are all participating in the whole way through, is the foundation for you going to the top. It's where the rubber meets the road. How good are you, and how good are you to yourself?
Mm-hmm. And then the one transcends the other anyway. You're better to yourself.
Exactly.
You're going to, then
it's a positive feedback loop as opposed to a self-fulfilling negative prophecy.
Totally agree. Totally agree. That was one of the biggest messages that I tried to communicate too up in Edmonton. It's just like, if we put our personal wellness and our personal development at the forefront, our art is going to get better. It's just a matter.
Also, yes.
That's what's 100%. It can't not. That's just like why all other look at any other kind of industry, IT, oil and gas, whatever the hell it is. They develop their people first, and then the skills come in because they got good people. They're good parents. They're good brothers. They're good sisters. They're good athletes if that's what they do outside. They're good authors if that's what they do outside. It all goes to the same place because they give a damn about who's inside. Right? Would you agree?
100%. Yes. You said it very eloquently.
It's coming from experience. I didn't do it for a long time. I was focusing on elsewhere. I was focusing on how could I be the best sales. I was focusing on how could I get better at songwriting. I wasn't focusing on how could I just be a better human and just hope for the
Indeed.
best, right? Like it's like, come on, if you're going to take care of yourself, everything else is going to get better because you're going to understand who that person really is. You're going to understand your story.
Well said. When someone understands that they are an ongoing process of a story, they understand the story, they understand the building blocks of the story, they understand what the story influences. We've gone over that several times. And to use a word that I mentioned about 5 minutes ago, participation. Participation levels go up. The more participatory someone is in their life, by definition, the more active they are. Okay? The more control they feel that they have because they have more control.
Oh, of course.
Okay? And that's important, man. I mean, I'm in a print company right now because we just had a meeting about a new set of core values that we're rolling out to their company, all of their employees, next Thursday. We went over the presentation and all the particulars of it. Mm-hmm. And we were talking about embracing the chaos. Guess what? There's going to be chaos. There's going to be drama. There's going to be strife, struggle. Life throws curveballs.
Yeah.
Expecting that does a lot of good for me personally, and that's what we impart to the people that study vocabulary is develop your story, lean into the drama because it will happen.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Breathe. And figure out what gets you out of bed in the morning. And then do more of it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Very well said. Now, what do you... Man, it's such an issue. We could go on for hours on this stuff, but what would you say for that one person that's super resistant to the change? I've been in a band with this person all the time. There's always one of them, and they're just really, really negative. They're resistant to the change, stuck in their ways. And I think the foundation is they're unable to own their shit, right? The show wasn't good because the sound guy didn't have the levels right. Or, I mean, there weren't enough people there. You know, it's a Thursday night. It's a Thursday night in Calgary. There's a Thursday night in anywhere. It's going to be whatever. It's what you make of it. So for people that are pointing one finger out and having three back at them, what do you say in steps to kind of getting through that?
I opened presentations for almost 2 years with a single question. Hey everybody, I'm Mark. Thanks for coming. How do you want to feel? How do you want to feel? Everybody knows how they want to feel. Take a guess. Take a stab at some of them, Mike.
Real good, right?
Cool. They want to feel real good. What else do they want to feel? Empowered?
Empowered, yeah. Yeah, with energy, not tired, right? That's
Right.
another thing. How many times do we hear what we don't want to, like, that's almost an easier question. But then again, you're already stepping into, we're so used to negations, right? We're so used to knowing what we don't want to feel like. Okay, well, that's great. And I've utilized this in my coaching 100% since we started. Okay, cool. Don't let the knees cave in. That used to be something I always said as a cue. That's long gone in the trash. And I heard that on barbell. So as soon as I heard that, I was like, mental note. So it's shove the knees out. People know what that means. It's saying the same thing. It's just that how often did I see the client, the knees coming in? In the band example, don't forget that new bridge. We'd have a writing session right before a rehearsal, and we tweak something.
Don't be late to the writing session.
Yeah, don't be late. Okay, well, should I be then? You know?
Exactly. And therein lies the point of the question. Our language focuses our attention. We have something called a reticular activating system. Okay? It's the same piece of hardware that everyone has in their brain that when, let's say I'm in Calgary and I say, hey, Mike, come on over, dude. I got a new car. Let's go for a ride. You come over. It's a 68 Camaro.
Sweet.
We go for a spin. You drive it. It's rad. Guess what you will do when you see, guess what you'll start seeing more of? 68 Camaros, even though they're rare.
Yeah, absolutely.
We've all done it. That's because we have something in our brain called please look this up. If you Google if you YouTube reticular activating system, the first video that will come up is a sketch art video, very cool, 5 minutes on the reticular activating system and what it does and why you want to know about it and what it does. So whatever we focus on, it deems that thing important. Mm-hmm. And once something is deemed important, it is now programmed to find more and more of it and edit out the other things. So let's say that 68 Camaro, you drive it, you're like, oh, that's so cool. And you start seeing more of those cars because it's now deemed important in your mind. And not only are you seeing more and more of those cars, you're seeing less blue trucks and red vans. Because the other thing the reticular activating system does is edit out what it's not looking for.
Right.
So for someone who's always blaming other people and things, they have learned how to do that. They were not born that way. Their language has informed their reticular activating system to focus on the problems. Mm-hmm. And because it's learned or been programmed to focus on the problems, guess what it's going to find more and more of? The problems. There could be 19 things out of 20 that went well with the set. They focus in on the problem. Okay? Mm-hmm. They edit out the other stuff. So how do we want to feel? The good news is that can be changed because we're in a process. We're always in a process of thinking and speaking and creating mental imagery and energy and breathing and moving our body. All things, considered to be normal things for normal people. All of that makes up our identity. We are very, very much. So the negative person, they're participating in that negative reality. They are the number one influence in how they see things. And asking someone how they want to feel. One, everybody knows how they want to feel. It focuses, it's using their language to focus on a solution, a quote-unquote positive outcome. And it also begins the process of putting them more back in the driver's seat, to follow up with the car analogy.
Yeah. Controlling. Taking
Indeed.
control, right?
Directing
Right.
focus. What am I focusing on? What do I keep focusing on and why? What connecting the dots? We talk about that a lot. What language keeps me focused on that thing? Is that thing what I want to be focused on? Do you want to be focused on the problems chronically?
Right.
Do you want to be focused? Do you want to be chronically focusing on the people that screw you over? Okay? Do you want to be focusing on the reasons why shit won't work? Or do you want, and guess what? When I do that, this applies to me 100%. If I allow myself to do that, I send myself into that stress response and I keep myself there. As long as I'm staring at the problem, which I can for as long as I let myself do it. Okay? And the more constriction that I create in myself, the less fun I am to be around. Okay? I'm that dude in the band versus someone who's like, yeah, okay, this, and this went wrong, and if we made these two adjustments, and yeah, we need to practice. We need to practice one more time a week. If we do that, then I see us going in this particular. I see us being successful. Okay, for the people that see themselves as successful, how are they using their language in order to see themselves that way?
Right.
There's only one way.
Yeah.
There's only one way. It's called architect language. Hello, vocabulary. Vocabulary is the art and science of. We've mapped out the language of conflict, chaos, problems, gossip, and failure. It's called conflict language. And the opposing force is architect language. It's the language of collaboration, the language of focus, momentum, drive, and success. And whether someone understands what conflict language and architect language is, if someone's repeatedly failing at something, they're using their language in a certain way, I guarantee it. If someone's repeatedly developing their life the way they want to, whether they know it or not, they're using architect language. Because there's only so many ways I can piss myself off, Mike. There's only so many ways linguistically. Language is a mathematical algorithm.
Yeah.
If I put these 7 words together and I equal this, I get that, this, for better or for worse. My body moves itself a certain way. It's not rocket science, and yes, it is an exceptionally under-contemplated, under-considered force in people's lives. Back to the education issue.
Right.
Everybody's doing it, dude.
No. Yeah. Well,
If you're listening to this podcast, you're doing it
absolutely
the whole way through. Thinking, listening,
You're thinking. You have to. It's behavior.
language.
It becomes. It's so common sense that we don't even realize we're doing it. It's so subconsciously competent that we.
It's
we
right
have,
under our nose.
It's right there. Yeah, it's right under there.
Between our ears.
And that's where championship games are won or lost, right?
Big time. Big time.
It's all up there. So, I mean, one thing you brought to my attention that I want to kind of close down the show here with is just the nature of both my book and also the podcast name, which you brought up, and I was like, wow, you're absolutely correct. How to survive the rockstar lifestyle. The musician's guide to surviving the rockstar lifestyle. And I'll let you elaborate further on this, and then we can close down on where people can change the way they think and speak, and therefore their outcomes will surprisingly change. Maybe not surprisingly, but they will change. So
right on, man. What's the difference for you between surviving the rock and roll lifestyle and navigating the rock and roll lifestyle?
the difference for myself, survival is just getting by, if that. Sometimes
It's a struggle.
It's a total it sounds like it has to be too hard. Whereas navigating, as you're going through, you're much more relaxed. That's for sure. Not nearly as conflict ridden.
It changes the mental imagery. It increases someone's ability to stay in the game. How long can I survive this? Okay, I got to navigate this. And then go from navigating to owning the rock and roll lifestyle. For the people, so we look where we want to go, just like driving. Everyone that's listening to this show who is a musician has musicians they look up to. Is that an accurate statement?
I 100% agree, yeah.
100%. Okay. So for the people, yes, they're the people they're the musicians that you look at and you're like, man, that guy can play or that girl can freaking sing. Cool. Make notes. Look at what they're doing right as far as how they're playing and how they're singing and how they've gotten to be as good as they have. And also study the people that have been in the rock and roll lifestyle for a long time and how they've owned it. Look for the people that have done it well and take notes. Why? So you can enjoy yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. There you go. So on your suggestion then, in order to make this show more accurate for my listeners, what would what would we do with the language in order to convey the more appropriate and accurate message?
You're already doing it. You're already doing it. You're studying and contemplating language, and that is an ongoing study. It's an ongoing practice. Mm-hmm. I have insights about language and my language and how it influences me for better or for worse very frequently. So, helping people understand that general foundational aspect of that conversation that, oh, wait a minute, I am influencing myself with my words. That's a very interesting thing to think about. Where am I doing this? Where am I causing myself stress in my life, in my language? What language am I using? What words am I putting together? What sentences am I stringing together to create worst case scenario? And you did this to me, and she'll never let me really make up my mind for myself. Those kinds of stories. And then what language am I using? When I really excel at something in my life and things go well for me, how am I using my language there? What's the difference?
Huge.
Huge.
Yeah, huge. Big difference. Ownership, right? I like that. I like that word a lot. And it is much more accurate to what we're doing on this show anyways.
Owning the rock and roll lifestyle. Either you own it or it owns you.
That's true. That's so true. Yeah. All right. You heard it here first. I think we're making a game-changing, name-changing decision here. We're moving forward. We're owning the Rockstar lifestyle. That's a thing. That's going to be a great thing. That just gives it a much better
buddy.
feel.
It's good.
I like it.
It's good.
It's that energy we're talking. That's me up there feeding back and forth. That flow state. That's what we're talking about with the audience, with the crowd. Energy in, energy out. It feels much better saying that. You know. The podcast now. There we are. How to own the Rockstar lifestyle. There. Wow, man. What great value. I can't thank you enough for your time. I know you got to get running here too. Get back to meditation. Get back into Zen mode before you pick up another few hours of work. So.
Indeed.
I appreciate everything you have brought to us and to the show here. Where can people find you? What can we do to get a little more vocabulary in our lives if people are looking at understanding the program that I went through too, the Core Language Upgrade? I think that's a valuable start. What would you suggest?
Go to procabulary.org, click on courses. There's a 3-minute promotional video on the course that you went through, Mike. The course is called Core Language Upgrade. In those 3 minutes, you'll understand what we do and why. You'll take the pulse. And if you'd like to take the course, again, it retails for $299. If you want a $100 discount code, put in next level, all one word.
Perfect.
Take $100 off.
Oh man, wonderful, wonderful. There you go. Next level, and that's That's for all the musician types out there, for sure, too. They got to get to that next level of the performance, and both on
Good, man.
and off stage, right? That's what we do around here. I really appreciate
Ownership.
that. Absolutely, absolutely. And then outside of that, if people want to just chat with you, what's the best way to do? You got an email, you got a website, courseprocabulary.org. But if they want to specifically pick the brain of Mr. Mark England, what's the best way about doing that?
Look me up on Facebook.
Perfect.
Mark England Procabulary.
Done, man. There you go.
Easy.
Get all the insight there, right? Perfect, my man. Well, thank you so much again once for your time. And if I can do anything else to help spread the message and spread the word, I'm right behind on this. It's changed my life. It's changed my game. It's what's got me now to, as we were talking before the call, to Australia. So we're heading down in November.
Very cool.
For 5 days, based on solid talk, based on architecture language that we're talking about. No more negations, no more iffy shit. I was just up front and
Get rid of that iffy shit.
I did, right? It was gone. And had I not, man, I truly do believe I would not have had the same opportunities when I went up there. So for those listeners out there, little skeptics, watch that 3-minute video. Check it out. Next level. Okay? And we're going to put this all in the show notes as well, Mark. So
Thank you, Mike.
I really appreciate your time. So I'll let you get going, and we'll be in touch soon. And I'm sure you're going to have a few people really interested from the Alberta music scene and Western Canada for sure. This is
Very cool.
It shouldn't be a new wave, but it is, and it's a great new wave to bring about. So,
Shout out to all your listeners. Thanks for listening, everybody.
Hey.
I appreciate it.
Cheers, Mark. Take care.
Cheers.
That's some powerful shit. Big thanks to Mark England of Procabulary for spending a little bit of time with me talking about the talk, as you heard. And yeah, hopefully you guys all dig it, and you can head to procabulary.org and pick up some core language upgrade. All right. Remember, the password is next level. So watch that video, check it out. And if you're into it, you should definitely pick it up. Okay. Quick reminders before we close things down here tonight. We got the AGM, Annual General Meeting for Alberta Music, here tonight. If you're down with health and wellness for musicians, feel free. Give me a nod for board of directors. I'll speak better than that tonight. And if you're looking for things to do, we got Tanner James's book release Friday night down at Village Brewery. You can find that on Facebook. And then you can also check out some music action. We'll be down with Jess Smith and the Frontiers at the Ship and Anchor down on 17th. Having a good time Saturday afternoon. Okay? I'm going to close things down like usual. Let the boys from Where Fires Are close the thing out. All right? Till next week, stay sweet. Peace.